All right, we're here with Ken from Yarbo. Ken, thank you so much for making the time for us today on the Home Assistant podcast. Tell us a little bit about Yarbo. Tell us a little bit about how you got started. Obviously, you're one of the co-founders for Yarbo. How did you get here?
Yeah, sure. So it actually started with a snowblower. So the other co-founder, the CEO, he had a couple friends that actually had passed away, believe it or not, from snow shoveling.
Wow.
It's actually a huge source of heart attacks. And then I actually had two uncles that had Parkinson's disease, degenerative disease, and they couldn't maintain their yards on their own.
Yeah.
So we're really passionate about using technology to help people, one, regain their independence, and then two, just improve their quality of life. That could be anything from saving them time, right, to giving their independence back. But that's a big passion of ours.
And I really respect that. Accessibility is a huge topic on our show, as well as just in general. It's a part of people's lives, right? So tell us a little bit about, we've got a bunch of accessories here. We've got the robot itself.
So this is what we call Yarbo's core, right? This is kind of the central nervous system, the brains of the operation. So what makes Yarbo unique is its modularity, right? So new for this year is Yarbo is actually modular in the front and the back.
Okay.
So to give you an idea, if you wanted to take a module off, this one you just press the button down below and it just pulls off.
Okay.
And then there's literally just one twist connect, so no tools.
Okay.
And now the module is off, you could put on another one, right?
Wow. So it's easy. It's easy on the wrist. It's easy.
Very easy. No tools.
Perfect.
Takes about 10 seconds, right? To switch a module, and then in the app, it will recognize what module you hooked up. So this is our Smart Assist module. That's our lawnmower over there. That's our snowblower, and that's our leaf blower. Okay. So that's actually the world's first autonomous snowblower, but it happens to be modular, right?
Yeah.
And that's the world's first leaf blower, autonomous leaf blower, but it happens to be modular, right?
Very cool.
So
So as we remove these, so let's say I remove this cover. So right now as it is, obviously you do sell just the core module.
So this is a base like Yarbo as it sits. So with that you get the Yarbo core, you get this, which is called a Smart Assist module, and it's really, Yarbo's made to be your smart assistant, right, in your yard. So what this allows is a couple things. Yarbo can tow up to 3,500 pounds, and anything you hook up to an to a residential or a commercial ride-on like lawnmower, you can hook up to Yarbo. So let's say you want to tow firewood, or you want to tow like a couple hundred pounds of mulch, right? You can hook that up to Yarbo, and then one mode you can do with this is follow me mode. So it can follow you around the yard.
You just walk to wherever you want to dump it.
Follows you. Yep.
Very cool.
The other thing this allows is tow mode. So if you want to hook up a leaf sweeper to this and have it leaf sweep your yard, it already knows your yard, right?
Yeah.
You say I'm towing something 4 feet wide, I want a 1 foot overlap, and it'll go and tow that attachment methodically through your yard.
Wow.
The last thing this allows, this particular module, is patrol mode. So it will patrol your yard
like
or wherever
Sentinel
you ask.
style.
Exactly, and it has stereo speakers, so it can play music, but also use it for announcements, right?
That's cool.
So if it sees somebody between a defined schedule, it can say, hey, the owner's been notified, please leave the property immediately. It'll send you a picture, and it'll send you a notification, and then you can tap into Yarbo's cameras from anywhere in the world, all of the cameras. So there's 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 1 on each side. And then you have two-way audio. So you can speak through it, and you can hear through it.
That's very cool. So it's got mics kind of around, and and how's the fidelity of that? Obviously, as if, let's say I'm an intruder, I'm standing up, I'm up here. The mic would be somewhere within this range. How do you find the fidelity of that audio?
The mic is actually really clear. The first time I tested it, that was a huge concern of mine, but it's very clear. So is actually the audio coming back through here. So one of the things we wanted to do with this, really as a byproduct of it to make it fun, was put in really high quality speakers. So we can't do it now for copyright reasons, but you could play music at a barbecue, whatever it is, but for announcements it makes it very loud, right?
Yeah, and it's cool to have an outdoor speaper if it's in your backyard or whatever.
That's okay.
But it's also another thing to have especially in its patrol mode, to say, hey, get off my lawn.
Correct. And we use it in other ways. So the snowblower, if it sees a person or an animal, right, it will pause what it's doing for safety, right, and it'll announce pedestrian or animal detected. It will resume when it's safe to do so. When they leave an area that we can't hit them with snow or they can't get close to our auger, we'll continue on.
Interesting. So from the autonomous perspective, obviously you mentioned there's a lot of cameras around. Are you doing primarily camera-based detection, or are you also So pairing that with like LiDAR or ultrasonic or something like that?
Yeah, sure. Right now it's completely vision-based. We used to have millimeter wave radar, but we find we don't need it now, so all the cameras on the main body are heated.
I was going to ask about that, because in the winter that might be a...
Yeah, and that actually also was something that we knew we needed to kind of solve, right? And solve it efficiently so it wouldn't kill our battery. So that's really important. All our modules have these binocular cameras, so they work the way our vision does, right? For obstacle detection and avoidance for depth. That's really important. The other thing that's really important is they're all illuminated. They all have their own lights. So Yarbo can work at night, which a lot of other even just autonomous lawnmowers cannot.
Interesting.
And that took a lot of actually development to find the right type of light, diffuse the right way, so we don't underexpose or overexpose.
So that's nice. So, like, for example, where I live, bylaws state that our sidewalks have to be shoveled by a certain time, like 7 a.m. or something like that, right? Before, obviously, school, like kids going to school, whatever you want for their safety. So I can say, hey, set up the Yarbo to run at, I don't know, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., something like that. And they can go clean whatever it needs to clean, clear out that sidewalk, even at night.
Absolutely.
While being safe, because it's obviously that light is...
Absolutely. So you can do two things with that. You can either do a manual schedule where you control it, right, when it goes out, or you can go auto schedule, and it will actually hook up to a weather API, and it'll know the snowfall rate per hour, and it will just go out by itself and do what it has to do.
That makes sense, because sometimes I might say, the weather might say, hey, it's actually going to snow at 4 a.m., but really shows up at 5, whatever, so I'm snowing nothing at that point.
Correct. And because you guys are a bit of a technical channel, I will just say that our next goal is to actually train the cameras to detect snow and snowfall. Because with snow, a lot of times you have wind and you have snow drifts, and sometimes it could be snowing in one spot and not another spot in the same zip code. So we really want to do that to get hyper-local.
Or even on my own driveway, if the winds are strong enough, it's going to all be on one side and the other side's clean already, right? I don't need to go do that.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about positioning. Like how does it understand its bearings? I see multiple antennas. I think these are antennas.
So sorry, we don't have to screw in this one. Basically, so one thing that makes Yarbo really unique is dual antennas. Dual antennas do a couple things for us, right? So one of the things that happens with a lot of autonomous lawnmowers is when they get stuck or they throw an error, you have to actually walk up to the lawnmower and physically clear the error, and then you can continue it on the app. And the reason they do that is if they have one antenna, they have to drive about 10 feet to know which way they're pointed, even with GPS. So this gives us absolute degree of our angle of where we're pointing. So we don't have to worry about that. The other big thing this does is it allows us to filter out like false reflections from satellites. So one thing that'll happen is, right, if you're against a high wall, say by your house or a fence, you'll get a false fix where you think you have a good GPS signal, but you really don't, and so you end up with an inaccurate position. But we don't have that problem because we compare the data between the two antennas.
So you're basically doing a diff. To say port side.
Something similar to that. And then when we don't have GPS, we can actually fall back on wheel odometry, so how many revolutions the wheels go, right? Our IMU, and then our camera, so for visual inertia odometry.
So it can say, hey, I'm actually oriented this way.
Right, or actually I'm roughly here on the map, so that way going under trees, you know, it's not important in the snow. For the snow, leaves fall off the trees, you get a good GPS signal. But working under tree canopy is a big thing that you really have to be able to do.
In the summers, especially with lawn mowing and such. One of the things I noticed as well is you guys obviously have a base, so I'm guessing it self-recharges?
Great point. So this is married with a wireless docking station. And now we don't need a wireless docking station necessarily for the lawnmower, for summer applications, but for winter, it's required. And the reason is we don't want to have to worry about snow building up on the charging pad. We don't want to have to worry about shorting out, right, corroding. So we don't need any actual direct contact. We have a couple of inches to play with. Now, one thing that's unique with the snowblower is Yarbo will drive onto the charging pad and clear it off itself. It will snow blow off its own charging pad and then back up, turn around, and park on the charging pad to wirelessly stop.
That's awesome.
It was required.
I would never have thought of... But, you know, but the snow stacking is obviously an issue, or the building there. But would that not damage the pad? I guess you built it to specs that. Hopefully your own machine doesn't kill your own pad.
And we can show you in a minute, but the snowblower actually has a articulating power height adjustment on the module. So we actually can raise that module up to the exact height of the pad, and then lift it up again when we're backing off, so that we don't damage.
So we're not chewing through the pad.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
We did chew through the pad in prototypes, plenty of them, but
I'm sure.
That was fun.
Obviously, these tracks are also pretty solid, right?
Yeah. So one thing I'm glad you brought that up. One thing that's new for this year is these are quick change tracks. So we have our turf track here that comes with Yarbo. Okay. So it's much smoother. It's not as aggressive, so it won't damage your lawn.
It's not going to rip through my lawn.
Right up there, we have our actual snow track.
Oh, they're actually studded. Wow.
Yep. And they're quick change tracks. So it's 4 little screws on there, that plate cover.
Yeah.
You take that off, and there's 1 bolt you loosen up that moves the cogwheel, and in 5 minutes aside, you can switch the track out.
Very cool. And how often do you typically? Is it just summer to winter? And so in a case like mine, we talked about this off camera. I live in Toronto.
Yep.
So lawn care and snow maintenance kind of thing.
Yep.
So just once a season, I just rip it out.
Once a year.
Swap the I guess fall to winter, winter to spring kind of deal, right? And, and then after that, do I ever need to replace? Like, is there a time where, like, I don't know, after a few years, I'll have to say, hey, I got to get rid of this one, get another one?
I mean, it depends how much you run Yarbo, but unless you're running it commercially, I mean, it should last you easy 3 to 5 years, because you're running on the lawn are not going to chew these down, right?
The studded ones maybe might.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And you can replace the studs. You can actually remove the studs if you want as well. Okay. Yeah, we install them for you, but there's a hex bit that we give you. So if you want to take the studs out, you can. If you want to change them, you can.
I can just buy studs from Yarbo, whatever.
Yeah, some guys that actually they use them on their backyard ice rinks to clear the snow. Yeah. They put studs in the entire track. Yeah. We only have them in every other cleat, right?
Yeah, that's a great use too. It's
I never.
You got a lake on premise or whatever, just go shovel off the lake. And, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's wicked. So we've got a bunch of different modules here. We talked about the I don't see the lawnmowers over there, and we've got the snow blowing module, but you've got leaf blowing.
Sure. So so with the leaf blower, that is 765 CFM. It's equivalent to probably the most powerful handheld battery-powered leaf blower.
Yeah.
But that, again, can do it autonomously. So that algorithm works by either working from the outside of your yard to the inside, blowing all the leaves into a pile in the middle, or you can do that reverse. We call it spiral mode, inside out, right? Yeah. Or you can go left to right, kind of up down of your yard if you have a tree line to push it to.
Yeah.
So that's one use case. And the other nice thing is that it comes with a hose attachment. So you don't have to have a second handheld battery-powered unit. If you want to get into flower beds or areas Yarbo can't, you can use the handheld hose. Yep.
And so at that point, would I just put this into follow mode and just say,
exactly,
come with me as I go to...
You got it.
You guys, I feel like this is very well thought out. It's pretty cool.
We try.
All right, cool. Yeah. What else do we have?
Yeah, sure. So new for this year, it's launching at the end of this year for the upcoming winter, is a granular spreader that attaches to the back of Yarbo. So think for the winter time, like rock salt, sand, right? There's a plate to change the actual granular size. And in the summertime, pre-emergent, post-emergent, fertilizer, right? Whatever granular material you want to put in it. And then this is the liquid version of that. So liquid brine in the winter for de-icer or pre-treatment. And then in the summertime, same thing, post-emergent, pre-emergent, pesticides, that type of thing, lime.
It's just a tank.
Yeah, correct.
I'm guessing acid-proof, whatever, or like whatever emergence would have in it.
Corrosion-proof, correct. And the good thing about both of these is they're material meter. So you're not going to waste any material. It actually knows the speed that Yarbo's moving at and the speed that it's moving that pump.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the impeller. So one thing a lot of guys say is on ride-ons, they lose a ton of material or they put out too much material.
Yeah, because while I'm turning or something now, I'm just still wasting salt.
Right. So you can either burn the fertilizer, right? Or you could not use enough or use too much. So that's important.
That's wicked.
All right, so this is our two-stage snowblower, right? So this has a couple of unique features that actually make it better than a traditional two-stage snowblower. One, because it's autonomous, it's designed to work through the storm. Right. So it senses when the snow is going to start falling, and from the first flake to the last flake, whether you get a dusting or a blizzard, it's going to go out and work through. So we've tested it in Buffalo at 5-foot snowstorms, and it doesn't matter because it's going out every 2 to 3 inches, right? Micromanaging the problem.
And then I guess it goes back, charges itself, right? Does all of that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. Okay. So one thing that is also really unique with this is this function. So the front actually articulates automatically. So one use case for this is gravel driveways, right?
Yeah.
So you would leave it tilted up like this, and you would let a frozen layer work, just like a regular two-stage snowblower, and then you can handle gravel driveways. The other really neat part about this, and kind of where it outperforms a traditional two-stage snowblower, is it detects unlevel ground. So actually, it is always cleaning to the bottom of the driveway or the asphalt or pavement or concrete. And when it detects unlevel ground, it actually raises this up, right, like that, goes past the unlevel part, and then lowers itself back down. So it's always getting to the bottom of your driveway.
Now, what type of a size can I expect for that? Like, so for example, on my property, we have a municipal water shutoff.
Okay.
And during the winter, just with ice and snow, like freezing and expanding, that typically pops out of the ground. So even when I'm shoveling, I always end up hitting it and doing that. So obviously damage could happen.
This can go up to 2 inches high.
No, but 2 inches high. But I mean, how from a detection perspective, how small can that?
So the way that actually works is maybe not as, it's not through detection. When Yarbo actually hits something like that, right, correct, and the scraper bar catches that, the tread starts spinning, and our GPS tells us we're not moving.
Got it.
So now we assume we're either stuck or on unlevel ground.
Awesome.
So even if we're stuck, we do the same thing. We raise the auger, we back up, then we go forward with the auger, raised a few inches, and then we lower it back down.
And then does it, for obviously something like that, like in my case, like I said, with the water shutoff,
there, right?
It's permanent. So does it learn that? And is it, okay.
You can actually record the terrain.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So first time it goes through, it'll bump it and it'll say, okay, it's here. And then now from next time onwards, it'll automatically raise itself and go around it.
Correct.
Amazing. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
And then on the snowblower side, like you mentioned sidewalks before. So last year we only had like main areas for like driveways, large areas, things like that. And you can pick where you want to make snow piles. Then that winter, everyone said to us, hey, you know what? We need a dedicated snow sidewalk mode because sidewalks, the current algorithm doesn't work for it. So we now actually have pathways, which could be like you have Yarbo on the docking station in the backyard. You want it to drive across the grass in the front yard, so that's a pathway, and then get to your driveway, and then start snow blowing. So on all of those pathways, sidewalks, areas, you can control where it's throwing the snow, so where it's creating snow piles, the auger height, the auger speed, the moving speed, the angle height, so how far you're supposed to be throwing the snow. So there's a ton of customability in there because every driveway is different.
Every terrain is different even, I guess.
Correct. And another thing that a lot of people are just asking all the time is how powerful is it? So I'll turn this on for a second so you can, it's not going to shoot anything, you're just going to get a lot of wind.
That's cool.
A lot of air conditioning. So.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have any hair, but if I did, you would see it blowing, right?
That's powerful enough.
We have a rotating chute and our angle. And then one of the other nice things is that if you are, let me bring it up for you here. If you ever want to check on Yarbo, right, or check on a part of your yard, maybe you get a storm and you want to see if a tree fell or something. So we're in Las Vegas, and this is my unit back in New York. Hold on one second. There we go. So you can actually see what Yarbo sees in real time.
Oh, wow.
And not only that, but if I wanted to, I could take over and I can see the front camera, see the back camera, left camera, right camera, and I can actually teleoperate Yarbo anywhere in the world, no matter what module I have connected.
And say go forward, back, whatever.
Or actually snow blow, maybe a hard, very narrow area, or like one of the common things happens when I'm away is the animals get into the garbage. They hear, my wife hears the garbage cans knock over. She doesn't want to go outside to check, so she grabs her phone, drives Yarbo, let Yarbo check it out,
I love that. Now, that actually brings up a good point. Like, so in this case, you have a vehicle that's outside that's plugged in. So in the winter, again, depending on how vehicles are positioned, stuff like that, I'm hoping Yarbo has some kind of obstacle avoidance to prevent hitting my car and damaging it.
Yeah, correct. So right now, Yarbo actually, so in the beginning of this winter and up until really right now, with the exception of some internal testers that we have, we're called product pioneers. They test our beta software. Right now we have in beta, so you would, typically right now the general customer would make a no-go zone. But within the next week or two, we are launching car detection. So right now you'll make there's templates for no-go zones, or you can hand drive Yarbo around to make a no-go zone.
Yeah.
But in 2 weeks, we're actually releasing car detection. Okay. So what it'll do is it'll detect a car and automatically go around it. And when it's done with its plan, it'll come back to that car, see if it's still there. If it's still there, it'll just go charge and then come back out. But if that car left, it will actually clean that area.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes, like, again, between me and my wife, whatever, as we're driving back into the driveway, sometimes we're right by the one edge, or sometimes
100%,
a little bit further out, whatever, right? So obviously having a no-go zone might not necessarily work in that sense, because I might be past that no-go zone or whatever. Maybe we're loading or unloading.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, right. And things change, in the driveway itself, what obstacles are there.
Yeah.
The other nice thing is you can actually overlay a Google map over the area. So this is just a test that was set up to run Yarbo out to the street. It's a dead end, and clear the end of the dead end. But you can actually overlay your Google map so you can get a reference point, right, of exactly where Yarbo is on your property. And then within here, you actually have a ton of settings. So you have main areas, pathways, no-go zones, docking stations, sidewalk mode. And within here, you can control the pass between the overlap between one pass to the next.
Right.
The speed of the auger, quiet for at night, mild, robust, turbo, parallel, circular lines, pattern, minimum auger height, right, maximum auger height, deflector angle. So again, if you have a neighbor to you, you don't want to blast them with snow.
Or you
to
do.
the right, correct. Or you do. It's your job to control that, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of customability there.
And I saw a little work twice button, so that means I can do a second round and just to clean up any of the crumbs left behind.
Yeah, at the end of the storm, if you wanted to do too. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
All right. So we'll maybe head over to the lawnmower quick.
Yeah. So this is the charging pad here.
Correct.
Wow, that's actually pretty. There's no contacts or anything like that, eh?
Yeah, correct. So actually last year, this was a little bit bigger and we had our power supply on the back, right?
Yeah.
Now we integrated that right into here.
So it's just wirelessly?
Yeah, completely wireless. We actually had to develop this ourselves. That was a big challenge, but the cool part is this actually charges at a pretty fast rate. It charges faster than our wired charger charges.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So there is a wire option as well?
Yeah, there is. If we come around back,
here.
This is where you would hook up a wired charger if you wanted to. This is the trailer hitch slot, and this is the slot for modules to hook up in the back.
Right.
This is the camera with the lights for the back, and then this is actually the battery. So battery is hot swappable if you wanted to, but really most people just use the
docking station. You don't really need to, yeah.
Right, correct.
How, obviously it's going to be very variable, but how long typically do you expect a battery to last on a charger? Do you have a metric of like this many square feet of shoveling or
100%.
snow blowing?
So I'll give you rough ones, but you can find all the exact stuff on the website.
Sure.
So the lawnmower can do about I believe it's a quarter of an acre per charge. It can maintain 6 acres, right? That's cutting it twice a week.
Yeah.
6.2 acres actually is the exact figure. Yeah.
That's very nice.
On the snowblower side, we've maintained up to a half-mile long driveway, which is really long.
Yeah.
7,000 square feet per charge.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah. And patrol mode,
just, I guess, whatever, like how much ever it's driving around.
It's really far.
Because it doesn't have an extra motor or anything like that to deal with.
This is the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Some unique things about the lawnmower: 21-inch cutting deck.
Yeah.
It goes up to 4 inches, which is pretty rare. And the reason we did that was cool season grass. If you have to use the snowblower, you may have cool season grass that's like tall fescue. It has to be cut at 3.5 inches or higher.
Yep.
And a lot of lawnmower manufacturers came over from Europe, so they started a lot of it in Europe and brought it to the U.S. And Europe cuts their grass much, much shorter.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure we had that cutting height, and then it goes down to 1.2 inches.
Nice.
Something
that's actually nice, because I've also been told to keep your grass, like at least for us, where we have a lot of weeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Keep your grass a little higher, because then the weed.
The roots are thicker.
Well, the grass roots are thicker, but now all the pollen from the weeds sit on top rather than going into the soil and getting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep. So some other things with this that make it really unique. So it has a tension spring in it, right?
Oh, cool.
So one of the things that's cool about that is it can get over objects that are 2 inches or higher. So in a minute, I'll actually take this off and flip it over so you can see underneath.
Sure.
But also if you're on soft ground, somebody actually just came to me a couple minutes ago and said, hey, I have some loose sand. Is it going to sink in? And it won't, because it takes about 40% off the front of this.
Oh, okay.
The other thing is it can articulate. left, right, so horizontally.
So if I have weird, like bumpy.
Yep, it's going to follow the contour.
Yeah.
Because it's treaded, it can get up a 70% slope, which is extremely steep.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, that's 70% is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's hard to walk up and hard to not fall down, you know?
Yeah.
Same binocular cameras, same headlights, same soft touch bumper. That's important because a lot of people have sprinkler systems that aren't 100% working right. The sprinkler heads don't recess. The cameras can only detect objects up to 2 inches in diameter.
Okay.
So the bumper is great because it's not mechanical, it's resistive. So all you have to do is press it like this and it will detect that the front bumper hit.
Even just a very light.
Literally this.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh yeah, that is pretty.
Yeah. So the good part about that is a lot of autonomous lawnmowers demolish sprinkler heads, where Yarbo will not. It's big, but it's gentle. So that's good. The other thing that's unique to this module is a rain sensor. Yep. And then ultrasonic sensors, and then the bigger thing is these ports on the side. So on each side, there's another connector point, and one of the big things we're launching this year is an edger and trimmer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we kind of know the last piece of autonomous lawn care is edging and trimming.
Because it's not really a great answer for that today.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is an answer at all, but I don't.
Yeah,
I've never really
commercially
seen much.
available, not yet. The only one I know is Segway that will make a trimmer that I think you have to walk behind while it does it.
Right.
But I'm going to take off this module real quick, and I'll spin this up so you can see underneath. So a couple of other things that make Yarbo's lawnmower unique. 2 cutting discs, 5 blades per disc. If you lift up Yarbo for safety, it'll actually detect that this wheel is hanging through a magnetic sensor and it will stop the blades.
Yeah.
The other really unique thing is this steel skirt. This is steel and it goes all the way around and it's actually at a downward angle. So Yarbo can get over 2-inch high objects.
Okay.
So think roots, think like Belgian block that might border your driveway, and now you don't have to build a ramp. Yarbo can actually just get up it. Really
that's to help it kind of prop up on the.
It's to help it so it doesn't want to buckle, right? Yeah. So if we didn't have a tension spring in here, Yarbo hit something, it would buckle. But because there's a spring in here, it takes the weight off here and it actually wants to go up.
Right, and that probably protects it a little more too, like for the device itself.
Correct, so like one of the things I have in my yard that's popular in yards is pavers, right? So cement pavers, right? 18 inch by 18 inch and they're about 2 inches high.
Yep.
With all the other lawnmowers, they would get stuck. So my only option would be to sink those pavers. But with the Yarbo, you don't have to worry about it.
It'll just kind of work itself around there.
Yep.
That is very, very cool. And it kind of just goes back, like you said, it cleans the deck off itself.
Yep.
And then it just backs up onto there. And if it didn't finish whatever it's doing, I'm guessing it's going to go in and finish off whatever is remaining.
So basically, in autonomous mode, we will go back, we will charge up to 80%, and then we'll go down to 20% and go back out again. So kind of like an EV car, that charging curve is the most efficient in that range.
Yeah. And how many years or months or whatever do you expect the batteries to go typically from your
like the life expectancy?
Yeah,
so like any battery, probably after the first year it's going to degrade a little bit, right, down to maybe 80%. And then after that, we would expect, 3 to 5 years, most likely 5 years, but what's going to happen is it's going to degrade and then plateau, right?
Right.
And then eventually after probably year 5, maybe 6, 7, whatever it is,
it starts the
it'll
degradation.
die. It'll actually probably won't degrade anymore, it'll just die.
It'll stop.
The other thing that's really unique is this antenna. So this pairs with something we don't have out here called the data center. That's what a lot of competitors call a reference station, right? GPS reference
like
station.
Like the little stick that comes in.
Correct. But what makes us unique is using Wi-Fi Halo. Wi-Fi Halo, we're one of the only products to use it. A lot of other competitors use a technology called LoRaN. It's about dial-up networking, but over a very wide area. Dial-up networking speed, right?
LoRaN,
but with Wi-Fi Halo, we can cover 32 acres, so you don't have to worry about blanketing your yard in Wi-Fi.
Nice.
And it's powerful enough, with enough bandwidth to actually teleoperate, stream all 4 HD cameras from anywhere in the world, which is really cool. So you don't have to worry about connectivity. We do it for you.
So it actually leverages that as a connection point to
your
stream
home
the
internet.
So there's not a SIM card in here or anything. You don't need any of that stuff.
There actually is a SIM card.
Oh, there is.
But
I guess that's for GPS.
It's more so for like commercial use cases.
Oh, no way.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we have it in there. You can put your own SIM card in if you want.
Cool.
But we developed Wi-Fi Halo because we wanted most homeowners to not have to worry about blanketing their yard, right? And it can cover 6.2 acres. That's a long, area to cover. Maintain, I should say.
Now, I mean, the one last thing that kind of comes to mind is obviously theft, right? This box is going to be out there, whether it's the front yard, backyard, whatever that is.
Yep.
Are there any theft deterrents or any?
Absolutely.
I'm sure it's not light, so I'm sure it's not just a pick it up. And,
so let's go over the passive ones, right? Just try and lift one side, let's say.
Oh, that's heavy.
So, it's the center of gravity because it's only about 105 pounds, 110 pounds on the main body.
Yeah.
But hooked up with this, it's about 150. The snowblower is about 200 pounds.
That makes sense.
That's passive, right? But let's say two thieves come, they pick it up, they throw it in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
The first thing it's going to do is when they put it in the pickup truck and they leave your property, it's geofenced. So they're going to tell you, hey, you're going to get a notification that says, Yarbo has left your property. The other thing, it's going to send off an alarm through the stereo speakers, so it's going to be very loud in the back of the pickup truck.
Right.
The other thing is it's going to activate that 4G antenna we talked about.
Amazing. So I can now track it and
anywhere in the world.
Cool. So and I can just go to the police, say, hey, here's my Yarbo, go bring it back.
And because of the cost, you actually don't need a warrant because you can prove where it is. So typically with other robotic lawnmowers, they'll ask you, hey, can you trigger a siren so that we can hear it, so we can actually enter a premise? And a lot of times people pick it up and they play dumb. Oh, I thought it was garbage. It was at the end of the driveway, whatever it is. But we've never had one stolen yet, luckily.
Sure. And you know what? It's depending on where you are. Like in the Toronto area, it's getting kind of bad.
Yeah.
So it's obviously top of mind for myself as well as I'm sure a lot of other people, depending on wherever in the world they are.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So, and availability from a market perspective, what are we looking at? Is it globally available? Is it just in certain places?
It's globally available right now. One special we have for CES is this unit by itself, just the Yarbo with the Smart Assist cover and everything you need to make it run, wireless docking station data center. Is typically $3,800. During CES, we have a discount for $700 off. Cool. Actually, $700 off is everything. So even if you got all of our modules that are available today, the lawnmower, the snowblower, the leaf blower, all of that would normally be about $7,000, so it would be about $6,300 during the show. And you would get it either at the end of this month or the first week in February.
Okay.
The other thing I actually wanted to touch upon, though, was third-party connectivity like Home Assistant and like API.
Yes, so that's going to be my next...
Sorry if I jumped on it.
No, it's great. Great timing.
We have really, really passionate users. With Yarbo started life as a Kickstarter, and if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be here. And a lot of them are very passionate about wanting to tap into Yarbo. A lot of them actually have Home Assistant. And so that is one of our goals for this year is to get Home Assistant integration and an open API so that people want to tap into their own cameras, right? Garage doors, things like that.
Sure.
And we definitely want to do that. We want to bring that to market for sure.
That is very cool. I'm excited to see kind of what that looks like as in terms of when you do bring it out. Can you talk to us about any of the standards that you might be trying to integrate with it? Is it just going to be straight up, hey, here's a REST API, or is it going to be, hey, we're going to do Matter, or we're going to do something like that, or any comments on that? Or if you're not the right person, that's completely okay too.
I will tell you.
Not to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. I am not the right person for the definitive answer,
that's
but we always try and make it as compatible and accessible as we can, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get one version out first that just gets people into it, right? But I personally love Matter with my devices at home. So if we can do that, we totally will.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So, with both snowblower, lawnmower, all of that, especially with a moving blade. Both of them have a moving blade.
Yeah, correct.
What kind of safety functionality are we looking at in here?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and we treat safety different depending on what module you're using. So the snowblower, if it sees somebody anywhere within its cameras, which is about 30 feet, it will pause, it'll make an announcement saying pedestrian or animal detected, and it will resume when it's safe to do so. When that person or animal leaves view of the camera, which is about 30 feet, it'll continue on. So we don't shoot people with snow, and we don't let them close to the auger or the moving machine. With Yarbo, with the lawnmower attached, we actually will go around people, pets. We can detect them and go around them without a problem. The other thing we want to work on also for Yarbo with the lawnmower and the blower is to give you the option to pause Yarbo during a certain schedule. So to give you an example, like for me, I know my kids are home on the weekend during the day, so I would rather Yarbo just stop and then pause if it sees a person, because we're probably on the swing set and we're not going to move, right, for an extended period of time. So you could say, hey, you know what, during these hours on these days, you just stop, just pause, right? But at night, go around the object.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
That's because that makes complete sense, right? Especially with a swing too, might be going back sense and unsense and sense and like whatever, right? Or
and you don't want to have to reach for your phone to pause the Yarbo, right?
Yeah.
And can it go around you? Yes, but like you said, with a swing that's raised up high,
it may or may not catch it.
Right.
Or catch and
yeah, believe me,
whatever,
those kind of things, I've used a ton of different lawnmowers. It gets very frustrating, right? So
for sure.
We want to really give customability to the customer.
Amazing. I think that's all I had. Anything else you want to finish with? Are you good?
No, I mean, you can find more information at www.yarbo.com. We have all our specs there, much more than I went over.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Ken. We spent quite a bit of time talking about this. I really appreciate your spending your precious time talking to us about this.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Take care.